Tom Springer.
Hey everyone, welcome to Stuff I Never Learned from a School Book. If you're looking at the bearded one, it is Monday night, 7 p.m. Central, 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific, 3 out in Hawaii now, I think. 6 a.m., maybe 5 a.m. out in Indonesia. I'm not sure about the time changes out in those locations, but 9 to noon out in Australia tomorrow. So welcome everybody to Stuff I Never Learned from a School Book. If this is your first time here, my name is Tom Springer, and I am the host of the show. If you are what I know as a repeat offender, which is also known as a family, welcome back. It's been a while since I've seen you. I had to kind of take the time off last time, so I haven't been here for a while. I will make that one up. I will be doing a open mic night later on, so keep an eye out for that one. But I'm going to jump right into this one because my guest also has a prior commitment before we were able to make mine, so he's going to only be here for a short amount of time, but I really want him to get in here and talk with us. Excuse me. So everyone say hello and welcome Kenneth Drake to the show. Kenneth, how you doing, brother?
Hello, my friend Tom. Thank you, my friend. Such an honor to be here with you. Thank you so much. Hello to the family. Thank you for letting me be here with you tonight.
So one thing I didn't tell you is that I know you're on your phone, so people will be putting messages in, and whenever they have a question or have a comment, I will post it, and then I'll read it out loud. So you know what it is, and that way anyone just listening to us and not watching us will also know what it is. But right now, Stuart saying hello from Texas, Miss, and I just say that. So you will know her as Mary or Uilani, but her name is Uilani Ku'ule. But she's saying hello. So hello, Miss Uilani Ku'ule.
Hello. Thank you for letting me be here. Beautiful people tonight.
Kathy,
love you all. Thank you.
Primal saying hello and Uilani is saying hello to you as well, Kenneth.
To the family, love you. Thank you.
As other people come in, I'll just kind of wave at them or whatever else, but I won't interrupt our talking. But these are the ones who are saying hello already, so I want to get them a shout out since I haven't seen them for almost a month now because I had to take the last time off. But
beautiful family, Tom. Love you all. Thank you.
And it's going to keep growing as you see more people coming in later. People, don't be shy to ask this man questions. That's why I brought him on here, is to simply learn about his life, what he does, and everything else. With that respect, do me a favor, introduce yourself, tell us who you are, what you do, and how long you've been doing it for.
Thank you so much, Tom, for the honor. Can't thank you guys enough. Thank you to this beautiful family tonight. Love already. Before I jump into that, if I may, respectfully, Tom, I want to, if I just may, brag on you first for a moment. Congratulations to you on this incredible show. Congratulations on all the success. We were talking before the show started and hearing these incredible stories of your connection to the spirit world, power of the spirit in your life, the lives that you're changing. And when I got the invitation, it's such an honor to even be here. So thank you. Thank you for all that you do. My name is Kenneth Drake, and I'm a medium. And this is going to be, coming into this next year, this is going to be 30 years since we've started some of those weird experiences. I always tell people that I'm this nobody from a nowhere town. And I mean that. And after all these years, I've these great honors of connecting with so many people. And you know, where I'm from, originally in the rural South, we didn't call it mediumship in those days. That was the devil's work. And started to realize, though, through some of these horrifying encounters when I was younger, that if it's your calling, it's going to keep on calling. I'm so glad that it kept on calling me. So stubborn. I still can be sometimes. I'm so thankful for the spirits for putting up as long as they have, and for all these beautiful people out there that I've had such a being a part of so many connections over the years, and I feel like we're just getting started. Yeah. So coming into this next year, it's really got some things coming up with my latest book that was just released, and I'm taking that time now to, looking back. It's like when you're passionate about something, the next thing you know, 20, 30 years gone by. Right. So I'm thinking, where did the time even go? And I'm more inspired now. What a privilege. I mean that sincerely. What a privilege able to partner with the power of the Spirit. And I always share anything that, if I've ever had any success, it's always because of the power of the Spirit, not because. And I'm so honored to do what I do, and I'm so honored to be here. So thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. Thank you. So, what brought you into doing this? What was your? Because I know you've been doing it since you were young. And so what made you decide this is what I'm going to do? And growing up in the South, how much did you have to hide it at first until? And I'm sure even now, 30 years later, there's still people who do not accept what you do.
Absolutely.
But how did you learn to work with it and work around others with it?
That's such a great question. I was for the family, beautiful family that's just tuning in. I was telling Tom before the show started when I was backstage. I think this is already my favorite show I've ever done. So you asked some great questions, Tom. That's for myself. It was, I think, 2 or 3 midlife crises in the making that actually helped that to happen. Growing up in the rural South, you could talk about it. You could talk about dreams, dream interpretation, prophecy. Those things were safe.
Bible was accepted. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Those things seem safe, at least.
Yeah.
You could talk about healing. You could talk about divine healing, the power of faith. You could talk about angelic visitations. All of those things seem. But when you start talking about, I have a message from the dearly departed, well, all of a sudden you've opened Pandora's box.
All of a sudden, it's a star looking at you, set of horns, and you're like, wait a second. So
Exactly. And so when I was growing up having some of these experiences, I was absolutely to go into what I would consider at the time ministry. And all these years later, I still think of this as ministry, although it's much different would have been in those days. Right. Was going into seminary, was in the process of becoming a pastor of a church. In fact, because in something about charismatic circles, the Pentecostal circles of my former beliefs, angels, healing, prophecy, visions, that really fit.
Right.
And for a long time, I really did, and I didn't realize, I have to be very honest, I didn't realize that I was doing this at the time. Because even the idea of, even the word psychic, that was, even want to use that word, quite honestly. Idea of mediumship, that was so foreign to me.
Right.
I had so much to learn. I still do, even after 30 years. I still do. I'm so on patient with me. But in that very rural aspect of life, then growing up, I didn't realize that I was living a double life. Because seeing someone presentation in a service, seeing someone standing behind someone in the audience, and then hearing this message from the only thing that I knew to say was I'm hearing this message from the Holy Spirit, hearing this message from angels. And one thing that I learned through that, and I'm still learning, is the Spirit world really has no interest in the titles that we want to use. Is interested in bringing all of us together, I feel. And so for myself in those days, it was at the time a very, very public excommunication in those days. And it was very lonely. It was incredible. And I lost friends, I lost family because of, and I'm so thankful to my family for putting up with me through some of those years. They should have probably had me committed to a padded cell, quite frankly.
So interestingly enough, we did not talk about this backstage, but I carry my lineage on my arm, my Native American side, my North side. But
I love it.
Here is the fact that I grew up in a Pentecostal household. My grandfather was a Pentecostal preacher. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
we have that in common. We have that in common.
Yep.
For myself, when I was having some of these experiences when I was young, 15, 16 years old, it began, and this is something that sometimes people are a little shocked to hear me say, it began in in the church, and there's a part of me that's always going to honor that.
Mhm.
I mean, regardless of how beliefs have changed over the years, regardless of ideologies, I have to honor that, because that for myself, that's
Right.
where it started. You know, it's where it started, and some of those, and then coming back home and coming back from school and locking myself into my bedroom. I can still take you to the exact small town in the South that, quite honestly, you probably couldn't even find it on a map now. It's so small. Locking myself into a bedroom, saying for days, just asking, what does this mean? What does this mean? Why am I seeing this? What can I do? And it wasn't until my early 20s that I began to see that there's something to this.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to surrender to what would begin to term as mediumship, and got heavily involved in spiritualism, and began to see then that the images were serving a purpose.
Yeah, and that's something that a lot of people believe, is that you say you basically identify it starting in the church, and a lot of people believe that is a gift given to you, that is different than what a lot of people consider a gift, but that could very well be a gift considered to you by God or by Creator, by whatever you call it, to help you. That's your stage to where you are helping humanity out, moving forward, and that's the gift that you were given to give the gift to others. And that's how a lot of people identify that I've heard of as well. Is they say, a lot of people say, I think I left the church because of this, but it started in the church. Well, then why? And again, this is just my thought process. Why would you leave and I don't go to church myself. I'm very spiritual, but I'm not religious. But why do you leave the church if that's what gave it to you? Is a thought process that I've always, and I even have to put that to myself. Why do I have all these gifts? And even though I did not fully start them till 4 years ago, I have remnants of little things that were going on back then that could have been tied to this. Why did I leave that? And my answer to that is because it's restricted. They want you to believe one way. I can't do that and do this at the same time, but I can do this while believing in that. Is the best way I try to explain it to people for me.
Absolutely. I so agree. I have nothing but the utmost respect for all of my beautiful friends from various religions, those who don't practice religion at all.
Yeah.
One thing that I'm seeing, and I'm more the older that I get, is I really believe the spirits speak the universal language to bring us together, to share these experiences with us. And something that I was sharing with someone just earlier this week is the spirit world really has no interest in frightening us. As much as I love horror, I love a good horror story, I love a good horror story, love the paranormal, love all of it. But the spirit world ain't us through these experiences. And one thing that I've seen time and time again, of course, I'm still learning. I always say that I'm still always be a student as far as I'm concerned. But one thing that I keep seeing over and over is that regardless of belief, regardless of background, we have these shared common experiences where, someone who doesn't even believe in paranormal all of a sudden has that moment. It's like, what is that? What just happened? What happened in my bedroom 3 nights ago? When I was driving down the road, what thing on the side of the road that no one else seemed to see? What was that? Right. These paranormal encounters serve a purpose. And what I'm seeing is that that's a universal language for all of us, regardless of come from, regardless of what we've gone through. And I feel the older that I get is that there's some inspiration in there. That's inspiring to know that we're not alone. Yeah. It's inspiring to know that regardless of what we've gone through, and even for beliefs, we have these shared common.
It's a comfort for a lot of people to have that belief that I'm being watched over by my loved ones on the other side, and through you, I'm receiving the message that they are watching over me from the other side. So that's very comforting to a lot of people to know that they still have that connection, or there's something that's there that says, yes, although I've left you in this world, I've not left you completely. throughout anything. I'm always with you. I know when your child is born. I know when this happens in their life. So, and by them getting to experience the fact that a loved one, a past loved one has experienced all that with them, takes away some of the anger, is the best way for me to say it, of you weren't here to watch me get married. You weren't here to watch me have my child. You weren't here. And that's an anger for them. But when they hear from a loved one through you or something else that says, they were there, then all of a sudden it puts them in that calm state that, okay, I'm grounded again. I accept this. It is something that allows me to move forward, knowing that I don't have to be angry because you're with me. So that
you're absolutely right. And one thing that I may just share with this beautiful family. Hello, everyone. Thank you to this beautiful family joining us. Thank you for allowing me to crash the party with you. I love you all so much already. Beautiful people. But if I may just share with the family tonight, something that's sharing. I always, even now, I can't think of a single thing that inspires me more than to see the way that the spirits work through other people, because that inspires me. It teaches me people can connect. And Tom, I was hearing some of those stories that you were sharing about how you meant to this gift, and it takes me right back to being 17 years old again.
Yeah.
No, it takes me right back to that small town, being 17 years old again, where there's this sense of an awestruck wonder.
Yeah.
Really. And it's like, wow, this is so new. And I always, something that I try to convince myself of every day. I want to wake up every single day still. Not always easy, and I'm not the best at it, but I try to do this. I want to wake up every day with that awestruck wonder.
Yeah.
To say, what are we going to do today? What are we as our connected to the spirits, what are we going to do today?
Yeah.
Who are we going to meet today? And that sense, there's something about, I think, that sense of wonder that opens up that powerful connection to the spirit world just by staying in that perpetual state of wonder. You know, I see so many people, even now, into greater psychic experiences, greater depths in the paranormal, not because they've been trained, not because they followed some guidebook, but just because they have this sense of awestruck wonder of what in the world is going on, what can we experience. And something about that, Tom, I find spirits are drawn to that like a moth to the flame. They're drawn to people who are passionate, people who are hungry.
They are, and it's this is going to sound very weird, but this is how my mind works, so forgive me. But that awestruck wonder, for most people, is about to happen during the holidays. When everybody has that, I'm going to be a little nicer. Everything seems to be more pure. Everything seems to be good right now, and they take it in as a wonderment. How come life can't be like this always? How come this is only one time a year? How come this is, and it's almost like this is. I know a lot of people will say Halloween, but it's almost like the Christmas holidays or the winter holidays, as some people will call them. Have that ability to bring that feeling to you of that wonderment of all the time. People are always a little nicer to each other. People are always, hold the door open a little longer, or buy that person's coffee for them, or do something. But it's that something that kind of just brings us together. And if people understood and they had the same thought process as you did of what good is going to come from today, what am I going to be shown today that's going to be fantastic, then that could be something that would be more than just that one time a year. To me, like I said, my mind works a little differently, but that's.
No, I love that. I love the way you explain that, Tom. And I think it's true. It's not easy, but I think it is so true. One thing that I'm seeing more and more and more is as simple as this sounds. Sometimes when I'm asked, and I get asked a lot, whether it's in interviews, at shows, or even talking to clients, or even specifically those coming into mediumship development. I don't get the chance to do that often now, teaching mediumship. One question is, how do you build what's called that power, not my power by any means, but the power of the spirit? How do you build that live, that connection, where you feel that, you feel something drive the tingles, you feel the chills? How do you build that to make that a part of your life. And as simple as this sounds, and it's going to sound so completely elemental, overly simplistic perhaps, I think there's power in praising people.
Yeah.
As simple as that sounds, I think there's power in praising someone. To say, oh, you're feeling so much? I love the wings so deeply. Tell me about that.
Yeah.
Or you had what kind of experience? Tell me about it. You're so powerful to even have to go through that the way you are. And all of a sudden, it's like the entire energy of the room shifts.
Yes.
When you realize that someone has a story to share. And as that happens, there's this connection that's happening where spirits begin to be a part of the story. I feel that right now. I feel it right now in this office right now. When you are a part of someone's story and you honor the story and you say, you're powerful, you've got a lot to offer. Something about that, it builds that power. And I'm still learning that. I want to become better at praising people.
Yeah, that is definitely something that I need to work on.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, so I want to ask, because I've talked to other mediums, and they've all kind of had the same answer, but there's been one or two that have phrased it differently. But when you are giving a reading and the information is not positive, how do you give that? First off, do you give that information? And then if you do, how do you go about giving it?
Such a great question. I get for Emily just shooting it. Have I told you yet? This is my favorite show I've ever done. Thank you, Tom. You asked the best questions, my friend. I wish there was some clear-cut answer to that. What I find in my own life is you can really share anything depending on how you share it. Meaning, I think that I say we, myself, I'm speaking to myself most of all it is. I think we have this responsibility to share things in an inspiring way. And what I mean that it always has to be fluff and butterflies, and most of life is never that way, quite frankly. But I think that even in what we would call those bad moments or bad news, or let's say the tragedy that's about to happen, I think there's a way to say it that can still be uplifting with encouragement. And I think that takes. There are so many times when I can't even count how many times I completely botched it. When readings finish and I said something and it caused more confusion than anything, and I have to follow up with multiple emails, multiple text messages. What did I say? And there are times I say, you know what, I missed it. I was wrong. Even though the information might be correct, the way that it was said was incorrect. And I would always start shows. Used to always start shows by saying, anything good happened tonight, that's the spirit. And if it's bad, well, that's me. I have to take responsibility for that. So if it's good, it's the spirit. If it's bad, it's me.
Yeah.
And that still holds true, I think, where even with getting these downloads, or what I like to call this spiritual partnership, as we're partnering with it to give this information, the impetus of how it's conveyed falls on us. And I missed that so many times, quite honestly. I have missed that. One thing that I think my spirit guides, my spirit team, has really encouraged me to do, or at least try to do more. Again, mastered this even after 30 years, and I'm still learning. But that they're encouraging me to do is to always keep it uplifted. I don't mean, when I say that, if I may say that just for one moment, because I want to make sure that I'm communicating that clearly. When I say keep the energy up, I'm not talking about high vibe. That's something else, and that's another conversation. I'm talking about saying it in a way that leaves someone inspired in spite of the message.
Right.
Meaning, when we think of high vibe, high vibration, the emotion in that is we're always changing. There are days where you're not going to be high vibe. Times when it's not going to be up. Most of the time, it's not going to to be that way because that's just the way that life is. I mean, sharing the message in a way that's presented to the recipient in a way that makes them know you're not alone. It's bad news, something that they don't want to hear. Leave it as, when this happens, I just want you to know that you're not alone. This is happening, and it's because you're as powerful as you are. You must be called for something great to experience what you're about to be experiencing. You know, how that's said, or in that, or I'm learning at least that there's power in that. Let's say, for instance, just as an example, there's some, or say that someone calls and they're asking, you know, is the relationship going to end? Many times it is. Many times the answer is yes.
Right.
And how do you say that? And so what my spirit team is really encouraging me to say is that, yes, it is. But when it does, this is opening a new door for you. This is going to happen in your life because of a new opportunity that's coming into your life. You see the difference there? Yeah. There's a way to share even bad news, I think, in uplifting ways. Yeah. While still being real, while still being 100% genuine, but leaving someone broken. Right. And I think far too often we tendency to leave people broken, and we don't have to do that.
Right. When I'm trying to figure out the best way to word this, a couple other people popped in to say hi too, so I just wanted to.
Hi guys, hi. Beautiful family, love you all for having me. Thank you.
So the funny thing is, the one person that I spoke with you behind the scenes, when I spoke of a Lakota medicine woman, she's actually here. And then the Lakota gentleman I spoke with, the medicine man I spoke with, is also in here. So they both are in here as well. So
I honor you all. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
So as a matter of fact, it's almost like I said her name and she popped up. So Joni Mitchell, she has a question for you. And she has a question that says, are mediums and star beings or aliens have a shared relationship? Do they share a relationship?
I'm sorry, would you had a little difficulty? Forgive me. My audio. Forgive my audio. Will you please repeat
sure.
that?
Are mediums and star beings, do they have a shared relationship?
I believe absolutely so. Absolutely so. In fact, and thank you for even bringing that question. Something have I mentioned this is my favorite show. These are questions asked in any setting. So thank you for that. Thank you so much. I personally believe that. I believe that there is that shared symbiotic connection in some way, where there is a partnership that is taking place, even behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. When we think of opening the gift of mediumship, or let's say I'm using myself as an example, when we think of the spirit world, you know, I think we have this tendency sometimes to think of the spirit world, and it's so a dichotomy, here and there. In our minds, so often that's how we think of the world. There's the physical world and there's the spirit world. Or there's life and the afterlife. When in reality, this disconnect is only here. There is no real disconnect. Mm-hmm. It's not a matter of here and there or life and afterlife. It's just life, quite frankly. So I think in this context, when we develop these, sometimes if I may call it theology, this is how heaven works, or this is how the spirit world, it seems so far away when we have that idea of here and there. And we think of that as this world filled with ghosts.
Right.
A good ghost story. We think of that world as a world filled with ghost spirits, spooky things, and no one loves horror more than I do. But one thing that I see is when we think about the spirit world, we're not really talking ghosts. We're talking about people, beings, aunts, uncles, nephews, grandmothers, grandfathers, that one night stand for college, that ex from 20 years ago, all of these people. But also it's a very, very big universe out there. Existence is very, very big. There are a lot of people out there that don't look like us.
Right.
There are a lot of beings out there that don't act the way that we do. But I do think that the gift of mediumship acts as a beacon in some way to inspire channeled information and partnerships with these beings. So I do believe that there is that symbiotic because of mediumship, and I think that one triggers the other. Quite frankly, I think that the gift of mediumship, we surrender to it, acts as some draw, really, to pull in this information, other beings even, and then their connection to us inspires in turn a greater dependence on mediumship. So I think there's this, that's why I use the term symbiotic connection there, that I think the two really work hand in hand. Great question.
Perfect. So I have two more questions that came up with you. One is from William Nighthawk. I'm probably the only person who actually calls him William, but because everyone calls him Nighthawk. He is asking, have you ever dealt with a trickster spirit?
Multiple times. Yes. And, and that's something that even now, I find this more, I don't know if it's the timing, Tom, and I would love to hear more from this powerful soul asking the question, because I know I have so much to learn, and I feel like you have some answers to this as well that I would love to learn from. But I think the timing that we're in too, where as this to the spirit world progresses, 20, 30, when I started, even in the mid to late 90s, these are things that you couldn't even talk about, and not only in the South, I mean in the world. Psychic phenomena that's been real, you couldn't really talk about these things in a detailed way. To even bring up the question shows that there's some shift in consciousness where we're becoming more open to these things, and that there are trickster spirits that do want to capitalize on that openness at what I call these counterfeit connections in some way. And I won't waste your time with the full story. I've seen that involved with attachments to objects, attachments to items, and also through most of all through some of what in the paranormal community we call these haunted locations. And that's a different story for another time or a conversation. But I think that more times than not, when we thrive on this fear-based mentality, I find is, let me preface, if I may, I want to go back and preface before I start getting hate mail, more so than usual. I want to preface by saying I'm such a fan of all of my ghost hunting friends. I'm such a fan, a supporter of all of my friends in the paranormal community. I find that sometimes we have this ability in a very, very, at times toxic way of taking the entertainment factor and crafting a theology around it.
Right.
That creates a fear-based mindset that in some way causes hindrance in our genuine connection to the spirit world, which in turn thereby propagates a beacon for more. And so does that make sense? And forgive me if I'm not communicated that well. So I think that many times these trickster spirits, or these what I would call these counterfeit encounters, are tied to those moments because of the fear that we ourselves at times thrive on.
Yeah.
And that's one thing too that I'm seeing, and this is forgive me for the rather long explanation of this, but that's one thing that I'm seeing where there's power in the inspiration. I know that sometimes I can be, or I know many probably over the years considered me to be sort of an outlier in the paranormal community, because that's a little, it's not as much as I love darker things. There are so many people that will, that's inspired, a little too inspirational to really fit into the paranormal world.
Yeah.
And one thing that I'm seeing is that when you let tone, one of the very first messages more than 30 years ago that my spirit guide gave a very simple message, Tom.
Right.
Share something good. Make someone feel good. At least make someone feel, because feeling good is the message. Something about the way that I think we interact with spirits, if we could focus more on that good, I think it reveals and it builds that sense of intuition to where you have a powerful discernment to know this is not what it's presenting itself to be.
Right.
This entity is not what it's acting as. And they're I love the way that our friend shared that. Very tricky.
Right. I'm going to scroll back up. So we had a few messages since then.
Oh, please. Thank you. Thank you.
Up to, so Joni had another question that's of a personal nature for assistance. And I'm going to ask you if you could respond to this one. We're good on time. I'm keeping an eye on that. So we're good on time. She says, I'm stuck.
Joni, thank you. Thank you, Joni. Thank you.
She says, I'm stuck due to a tragic passing and can't seem to connect with them through the veil. And any thoughts as why or how I can?
Such a great question. First of all, you are so powerful. I feel that through the screen. May I, just for a moment, may I, respectfully, just for a moment? Hi there. Hi. Even to ask this question, I sense, reveals the power you have. I'm going to stay there just for a moment, if I may. To even be asking the question, to even have the desire to connect, in some way signifies this deeper power of mediumship already working in you, if I may say it that way. And so what may seem like this hindrance right now is ultimately going to be part of a natural progression in your own gift, if I may say, because even as I'm saying this, I have my spirit guide just stepping right here, holding up scorecards like you see at the Olympics, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Tell her perfect score for being as powerful as she is, to even feel the connection to the spirit world as much as what he does. Mm-hmm. I really feel the more you surrender to this and the more you just give yourself space, the more you give yourself that patience, not only are these messages going to really continue to come through, they're going to become a lot more clear in how you're interpreting the information. So I think most of what I just keep hearing is be a natural progression in your mediumship gift. And I think that the more that you honor yourself in this, quite honestly, the more that you just say, you know what, I'm powerful. I do have this. When you step into that, there's something about this, even in your home, if I may say respectfully, I want to stay here just for a moment. Even in your home right now, I feel so much spirit activity. I mean that in a good way, not in a bad way. So much spirit activity where I feel like there's a desire on the part of these loved ones to connect. So if you're not hearing that, or if you're not having the experience that you may want to be having, it's not because of a hindrance, it's not because of a blockage. I think this is a natural part of you really beginning to develop the gift of mediumship. The reason that you're even asking the question, I think, is because you're a medium. So
she gives more specifics, and I'm going to read that to you. The specific is, my cousin's death anniversary was last week, and we don't know if it was murder or not.
Would you, if I may respectfully, and you have my permission to I would love to speak to you off camera about that, if I may.
Joni, you want me to put you in touch with Kenneth Drake? I can do that. We're friends now, so I can do that with him. So I'll ask Joni. She's listening, so I'll ask her about that another time. So Joni is the lady I spoke of, who was my first and only mentor. So she is that person, and I know this is something she's been fighting with quite a bit. And it's
if I may, Tom, just to make this as easy as possible for her. If I may, respectfully, may I send you some information just as a message after the show ends? Because I don't want to draw too much attention to what she's going through, other elements there. Out of respect to the family, I want to just be as private as possible for her. Yeah, but I would like to share some of this with her. I'll message, if I may, send that to you to message to pass on to her.
Okay.
I'll send that.
Sure.
as a message.
Yeah, Joni, if you're okay with that, he'll send it to me. I'll send it to you. She and I are in contact a lot anyways, but she says, yes, please. And she is heartfelt. Thank you.
Proud of you. Proud of you. Thank you. Thank you. Powerful. Love your energy.
Yeah. And then earlier, and I'm explaining this to the audience because they don't know that you can't see the messages that I put up.
Yes, forgive me if I'm not responding to your message.
The ones I'm bringing up are the ones I'm reading. Everyone else is saying hello to everybody else, or they're saying hi to us, whatever else. So I kind of wave at them and just let that go. But William Nighthawk stated earlier, we indigenous people couldn't talk about anything we did spiritually until the federal government allowed us to in the late 70s. And then he responds with, so much we still don't speak of, my dear brothers. So, Yep.
I have not only so much admiration for you, my friend, but so much to learn. I mean, even after time, even the question that you ask, you spark a greater passion in my heart. Thank you for the wisdom that you have to even ask these things. Thank you for me.
So Crystal Jade Powers has a question for you. And she states, I'm curious if Kenneth or you, Tom, actually can give me any tips on opening myself up. I know we've talked about it, but a regular of mine, we're talking, and I think I may be accidentally barring myself when I think I'm trying to open myself up.
Would you like to go first on that, my friend, Tom?
You are my guest. I am just simply the one opening and closing the show.
I feel two things that I don't think that these are the only two things. These are two things from my own experience, and every experience is so unique and so different in how they come into this gift. But we all so often think that the power of medium is some external force that we as medium have to connect with in order to establish the connection. When in reality, it is this power in us. It's the soul in you. The way that I sometimes like to share this, Tom, is we're always of us. The soul us, the real us, is always talking to others, always talking to other spirits 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in 3D time, 165 days a year. The soul is always in communion. And this is actually part of the premise for my upcoming book, Communion of the Spirit. We're always in communion. The soul is always in communion with the spirit. Mediumship is just when we get in on the conversation. That's what mediumship is. It's when we allow ourselves in the conversation. So this communion that's already happening right now, you're already, consciously realize it or not, you're already receiving downloads 24 hours a day, 300 a year, because your soul, and something that I share with people, Tom, and to all of our beautiful family out there, we are hardwired for spirit contact. Mediumship isn't something that's reserved for a select few, at least I don't believe it is.
I don't think it is either.
I think that we're hardwired by our own nature. Mediumship is our birthright. Mediumship is not just saying for a select few. I believe mediumship is our birthright. As spiritual beings, as spiritual entities ourselves, mediumship and spirit communion, the ability to interface with the spirit world, that's our birthright. So one, I would say, just to give some encouragement there, is always focus, not to ever tell you what to think or what to feel, but if you could focus on partnership, something about that word I find that even now me in readings, in deeper levels of mediumship and séance, that this is a partnership. This is a partnership. Sometimes even telepathically, sending that message out. Partner with me. Partner with me. And so that I feel builds a lot of power for medium. You're going to come into this and you're going to have those experiences. And I don't think it's far away.
Beautiful. All right, Crystal, I'll get to work. No.
and then teach me and share your experience. I want to celebrate when this happens. I always love hearing these stories. I want to celebrate with you.
I do want to share with you that Kim is actually responding to Joni. It's a response about you. And she says, I love this guy so much. I resonate with and appreciate him sharing. We are all divine. So just so you know how the audience is with me. Kim, again, you know, I told you before, these aren't guests, these are family. That's why I always call them my family, because that's who they are to me.
Beautiful family. Thank you all.
They're what's make me who I am here. And I love the fact they come on and talk and ask questions, and they're so engaging. When I want to know how you got your nickname, if you could share that with us. You have
the censored or the uncensored? I've got a few.
The uncensored. The celebrity psychic or the Hollywood psychic. How did you come about? I know you've done a lot of them, but I mean, how did that come about to where that just became your name? I mean, that just, you know, that guy, that's the one you want, you know, that's the one we know is this guy. So,
yeah, you know, I still have to wonder about that. And just, you know, in all seriousness, though, one thing that I always share with people is, you know, it's something that I shared when we first started our talk tonight is, no matter what's ever happened in my life, anything good, it's all been because of this world. I can't take credit for any of that, and I'm so honored, privileged to get to do what I do. The honor of connecting with so many people, but I'm behind all of that. I'm still in heart of hearts that 17-year-old kid, that nobody from a nowhere town. But one of the first questions that you'd ask me was, as far as being in the rural, in the church environment, how did I cope then?
Right.
The truth, not very well. The truth is not very well. But in my early 20s, was actually recruited by, now keep in mind, this was just before the turn of the millennium. Remember the days of Miss Cleo?
Yep.
remember where you have those fun late night psychic infomercials? Yep. So somehow, between the world of religion that I'd come from and this world that I live in now with spiritualism, I was recruited as one of the top, and ended up, I don't even know quite honestly, but was recruited to be at the time for this, what was at the time, it's not much different world now. All right? So let me preface by saying it's a much different world now, but as a way to give or be sort of a closer for some of these new what was at the time new networks that were starting in Canada and in the United States. And you know, me being a kid, I thought, you know, surely this is a mistake. You don't me for that. You know, I was doing a lecture tour at the time, partly after, and in part after the organized religion that I was a part of at the time. So I'm getting out there, being a little bit more open, still not calling it dip, and still afraid to use the word psychic. So I was still sort of putting myself between worlds in a way. That's part of the reason for my book. It's the title that it is, Branded by Spirits, A Life Between Worlds, is because for myself, I really was between worlds.
Right.
For a while. My religious world that I'd come from, this world of psychic, to even use that word was so frightening to me, quite honestly. But through that, so I'm working on it for a network at the time, the late 90s, early 2000s, and get to be connected with people that I never would have even imagined being connected with. And there's so many stories that I could, that would be another show for another time. A lot of those were, you have to sign an NDA to even have a call with some of these people. But next thing I know, I'm thrown into a world of, it's the entertainment world, and having people reach out to me, people that I never would have imagined being able to talk to. And so I was recruited for that years ago, and it kind of stuck. But I don't have myself as that. A lot of people think of me. I never think of myself as that.
Right. I do have one more question, but I know we're getting tight on time, so I don't know if you want to take the question or.
Sure, let's take it. Sure.
So Primal Cry has, hi Kenneth, who is the non-human calling my name and my sweetheart's name? I didn't recognize her and waited to hear more, but nothing came. Thank you.
Oh, great question. sounds strange. Forgive me for saying it this way. You're about to be given that information directly. I don't know if they're not wanting me to be part of the conversation, because as I'm hearing that, my spirit guide just like, oh, she'll find out soon enough. Oh, she's. I do believe that this is about to come to you directly, and I think there's going to be clarity on that for you directly with some of your experiences that you're going to be having. I think even within the next week.
Yeah. Beautiful. All right. So, Crystal, I'm going to ask. We're running a little short on time because actually Kenneth has to leave us because he has to go do a reading. So I'm going to ask.
I wish I could be with you all night. I love you all. I love you all so much.
But I'm going to ask him to close by letting us know how we can reach out to him, where we can find him, and all that other wonderful information. And as always, Kenneth, if you're okay with it, I also want to make this offer as well. If someone has a question for you, like she does right now, I'd like to be able to grab that one and just send it to you.
Please do. And also, may I say, and I was sharing this with Tom before the show, if I ever take forever to see a message, for those connected, Tom already knows. I promise you matter to me. I don't care who you are, where you've come from. You matter to me. Your message matters to me. And it's just because I'm either on the road or I'm at an event. That's the only reason. It takes me a while to respond. I promise you. Please message me.
This is why I booked him out anytime. 2 months in advance. So just so we're so
well. Now I had to have my people get in touch with your people because with the success that you've had on this show, Tom, this is the hottest ticket in town. I'm honored to be here.
I appreciate it. Thank you. But I will make sure that I have Crystal send me her question and I'll shoot it up to you. And I will make sure that once you send me the message to Joni, I'll send that on to her. So I'll kind of be the I'll kind of be the go-between right now for
kind of the medium, if you will.
Exactly. I was gonna say the medium. No pun intended. But do me a favor and let people know where they can find you, what your new book is coming out, when it's going to come out, anything else you'd like to share with you before you go for us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can't thank you enough, Tom. Thank you to this gorgeous family tonight. I love you all. Best way currently, we're in the process of making a few changes on social media and site. Something I shared when we first started this 2026. Believe it or not, it's going to be 30 years since I had first encounters, beginning at, those first encounters that started all. So got a few events coming up. In fact, 2026 is the largest year yet. More than 30 dates on what's planned as a nationwide tour. So this is going to be the first time in a long, long time that I get to be out there meeting some of you in person, and I would you and brag on you in person, tell you what you mean to me. But the best way right now, while the new website's being built, is to social media. You can just find me on Facebook as Kenneth Drake or on Instagram as Psychic. So please feel free to act with me. Also want to say thank you, if I may, respectfully, just for a moment. Thank you to Beyond the Fray Publishing, who's been responsible for putting out my memoir, branded by Spirits Between Worlds, and we'll have some of these. I'll be giving some of the events coming up in 2026, but would love to connect with you and love to tell you what you mean to me, what you've meant to me all these years. Thank you for being in my.
Fantastic. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming on. It was absolutely wonderful. It was more than I could have asked for. And I told you I was excited to have you on, and it did not fail in any way, shape, or form. Lived up to every expectation I wanted. So thank you for that.
Thank you for that. It's such an honor. I'm such a fan of, and may I just say in closing, I'm such a fan of you, Tom. You do more than you realize you do, if I may say, respectfully. I think you do more than you realize.
I appreciate
you do. I know the family knows this, but Tom deserves a lot of credit. This show, and I know it's only getting bigger and bigger. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Go have a good reading. I will be in contact with you again later as I start passing notes across classroom.
Thank you. Please do. And I'll have some of those by tomorrow. I'll have some of those.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And I've already had a couple of requests to ask for you to come back. So if you do that, we'll go ahead and schedule that out at another time. Give you time to catch up on everything for 2026 and grab a hold of you later on in the year. So
thank you so much. I want to say thank you to all of you.
Yep.
And thank you to the Spirit for this power tonight. Thank you for being so beautiful. And I hope to see you again soon.
Appreciate it, brother. Go have a good show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, that's my show. I want to thank Kenneth for coming on again. That was fantastic. I really appreciated him being on here. Sorry he had to run, but he did have a reading to go do. And I appreciate him giving us the time he was able to come on and share everything he did. Such a wonderful energy. That was fantastic. I think he's just a wonderful person, and I really appreciate it being on. In about 2 weeks, I have on another show, and I have on someone, her name is Michelle Abreu. So he was known as a Hollywood psychic. She is known as the Hollywood numerologist. So she will be coming on here in a couple of weeks. I'm going to see how things go. I am taking some time off from work to spend some time with Nikki over the holidays, so we can spend some time. But I may randomly pop in to say hi to everybody and see what's going on, and if any questions need to be asked or any answers need to be given, then I will do my best to try to do what I can for you. I know I missed my open mic night, so I may reschedule that one here sooner than later and get that one out and going. So if anyone wants to come visit me on open mic night, ask questions, talk whatever, we can do that as well. But other than that, as normal, much love. Thank you for showing up. I always appreciate your energy, your questions, and your love. It is greatly appreciated. Stay safe, stay warm. For those of us who are in snow right now, especially stay safe from the ice and everything else. Make sure you come back. And if you have any questions for me, reach out to me. Y'all know how to reach me. My stuff is right here. It's Stuff I Never Learned is everywhere. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Kick, Instagram. Everything is Stuff I Never Learned. If you want my Gmail, reach out to me at stuffineverlearned@gmail.com, and I will answer you back. If you have questions for the guest who was just on, Kenneth, send me a message, and I'll ask him the question as well. He's very open about that, and I will be more than happy to give him that information of those questions and anything else, and either put him back in touch with you, or he can relay through me, and I'll get him back to you with myself. Other than that, stay safe, much love, take care of each other. And I will see you in 2 weeks. Maybe before that, but we'll see. Other than that, much love.